Good morning. It's Friday, July 11th. I'm Janine Herbst from NPR News, and here are today's top stories. Hundreds of State Department employees are being laid off today. As NPR's Michelle Kellerman reports, it's part of what the department is calling the biggest reorganization in decades.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio has cut many offices at the State Department and now is letting go hundreds of staffers. They include 246 Foreign Service officers and 1,107 civil servants, all based at the Washington, D.C. headquarters. His aides say that if you add that to the staff that took early retirement, they have reached their goal of a 15% cut at the agency's home base. Democrats on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee say that this will undermine U.S. national security. They warn that as the U.S. retreats, China and other adversaries are expanding their diplomatic reach. Michelle Kellerman, NPR News, the State Department.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio is in Malaysia at the South Asian Summit, trying to bolster the U.S.'s ties with Asia and counter China's influence. This as China's top foreign policy official, Wang Yi, has been urging Asian nations to resist U.S. pressure and see Beijing as a more reliable partner. Rubio spoke with Yi today, hoping to resolve issues in connection with trade tensions.
We acknowledged, there are some issues that are going to we have to work through, not just beyond trade, but others. But I thought it was a very constructive and positive meeting and gave us a lot to work on.
Rubio says while the baseline tariffs take effect August 1st, there are arrangements that could be made before then. He also met with officials from Korea and Japan today, trying to shore up the U.S.'s influence with its allies and partners amid Trump's tariff threats to countries around the world. Mexico is reviewing the list of nations receiving its copper exports. As NPR's Ada Peralta reports, the move comes after President Trump announced stiff new tariffs on imported copper.
President Trump says he plans on slapping imported copper with a 50% tariff beginning August 1st. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum says most Mexican copper goes to China, but the U.S. does receive a good amount. So she says the government will try to find other countries where that copper can be exported.
Porque el cobre se requiere en muchos lugares del mundo.
Copper, she says, is required in a lot of parts of the world, so we have some options. Mexico has navigated the Trump era with care, avoiding retaliatory tariffs and direct confrontation with President Trump. And so far, despite constant threats of tariffs, economists say most Mexican imports are not paying tariffs. Ada Peralta, NPR News, Mexico City.
President Trump heads to Texas this morning, 1 week after flash flooding along the Guadalupe River killed more than 100 people. As NPR's Tamara Keith reports, Trump will meet with local leaders and first responders.
Teams are still searching for the missing after dangerous floodwaters tore through homes, campsites, and summer camps, including Camp Mystic, where so many children perished. A White House official says President Trump will meet with family members affected by the tragedy. The president is also set to meet with first responders and get a briefing from local leaders. In an interview with NBC's Kristen Welker last night, Trump said installing an alarm system of some kind to alert people of future flood events would make sense. Trump told NBC his message to the people of Texas would be one of love. I love those people, he said, adding that he feels so terribly for them. Tamara Keith, NPR News.
The White House is expected to fight a ruling by a federal judge in New Hampshire yesterday, temporarily halting President Trump's executive order banning birthright citizenship nationwide. That despite the Supreme Court last month curbing the power of judges to issue nationwide injunctions. The ACLU sued, saying that citizenship is protected by the Constitution. Cody Wofsy is with the ACLU. He says giving one person the ability to change the Constitution is frightening.
The idea that the president can rewrite who is a citizen and decide who gets to count as an American is extremely dangerous and deeply, deeply contrary to our national values.
Speaking there to ABC News, the judge says the ACLU's class action lawsuit can move forward, but gave the Trump administration 7 days to appeal his order. A Columbia University activist is suing the Trump administration for $20 million for alleged harm caused by his immigration arrest and detention. NPR's Juliana Kim reports.
Mahmoud Khalil claims he experienced lasting harm while in immigration detention. Khalil is one of the first students arrested in the Trump administration's crackdown on pro-Palestinian activists. He was detained for some 100 days before being released last month. In his filing, Khalil accused immigration agents of arresting him without probable cause and under false pretenses. He also claimed that he lost 15 pounds due to stress and inadequate food, as well as that he was forced to miss the birth of his first child. In a statement, Department of Homeland Security Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin called his claims, quote, absurd.
NPR's Juliana Kim reporting. In Los Angeles, federal agents and protesters clashed during an immigration raid at a cannabis farm yesterday. Local media video shows law enforcement using tear gas and crowd control munitions on the protesters. A Homeland Security Secretary spokesperson says agents were executing criminal warrants. It's the latest in a series of immigration raids that have triggered protests and prompted President Trump to federalize the state's National Guard. Israeli forces and Jewish settlers in the occupied West Bank have killed more than 1,000 Palestinians since the beginning of the war in Gaza. It's according to Palestinians' Central Bureau of Statistics. And 23 Israelis have been killed, according to the United Nations. NPR's Hadil Al-Shalchi reports.
The number of Palestinians killed in the occupied West Bank rises as Israeli settlers set fires near an ancient church and cemetery in the Palestinian town of Taiba this week. Last month, settlers attacked Palestinians and set ablaze the village of Kafr Malik north of Ramallah. Israeli forces killed 3 Palestinians in that incident, according to Palestinian health officials. Israeli officials rarely prosecute offenders, and when they do, a very small percentage end in conviction. Demolition of homes by Israeli forces has also displaced tens of thousands of Palestinians, the largest displacement in the West Bank since Israel captured it in the 1967 Mideast War. The Israeli military says it's rooting out militants. Hadil Al-Shalchi, NPR News, Tel Aviv.
A dinosaur museum in Denver made an unusual find under its parking lot, a small fossil bone from a dinosaur. Officials say they drilled a hole in the parking lot more than 750 feet deep to get borer samples to study the geothermal heating potential for the Denver Museum of Nature and Science. That's when they found the hockey puck-shaped small fossil sample thought to be from a small plant-eating dinosaur that lived 67.5 million years ago. Now, this find is rare, with only 2 similar finds in borehole samples from around the world. I'm Janine Herbst, NPR News in Washington.